We got a heavy agenda here. I'm gonna call the meeting to order and ask for a motion to approve the minutes from the March 4th committee meeting. Motion made by Evelyn and seconded by Edna. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Now I'm gonna wield the extreme executive authority granted to me by Chairman Garrity, and I'm gonna switch up the agenda, so Mike will be going first this morning.
Morning. First thing is a simple thing, doing a resolution requesting you ratify the actions of the IT director in executing a letter of agreement with Microsoft for a county review of our licensing. They're willing to provide a review of our licensing. We're about to buy all of our licenses. We did a self-assessment last year, determine how much money we think we need for this year. And as I was talking to them a few weeks ago about we're getting ready to do this, that they will provide at their cost. They'll pay an outside vendor to review that for us. It's very complex, and we did our best to understand it. And this way here, we'll make sure we're not buying too many licenses, and make sure we have enough so we're where we need to be. But we have to sign a letter of agreement with them so that it protects us too. That we're not going to get a bill later. That it really is something that's not going to cost us anything. And just requesting permission for me to sign this now so we can get started, as opposed to waiting to the next board meeting.
Motion made by Evelyn and seconded by Peter. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next thing, I guess, is to have a discussion about the recording of the full board meetings. So I've got a screenshot of what it looks like now with the 4 screens, and there was concerns about whether it's too small, should we use 1 screen? So I thought it was just easier to show, this is what it looks like. If we use 1 camera, it's a 4-sided meeting, you're always going to get the backs and heads of somebody. So, and also a concern of some staff time, how much staff time does it take to download the 4 cameras? Or should we have a staff person holding a camera and trying to pan around kind of thing? So I guess it's just trying to see what everybody's opinion is to what we should do. Because right now we're set up for the 4, which gives us a view of everybody. And the staff time, it's not bad. It's not the end of the world. The first one was a 3.5-hour meeting, so the download was a little longer. So our first test was the extreme test.
It's it's just interesting. Just the first time I've seen this, but the Health Services Committee, in terms of views, seem to be heavy, huh?
Yep, that was it. Yeah. Yep.
They were second, though, support services.
Yeah, we are second.
Seems to me like the number of views is hardly worth having something better than this. This is doing what we want. It's getting, we're transparent. I like it because if you say something stupid, nobody knows who it is.
I know your voice.
When it's on motion, it's not quite so blurry, but because we're shooting such a distance with so many people, you can't get a real focal point and still get the width. So and I haven't bought the cameras yet. These are actually cameras I borrowed from our security system. So I found some cameras actually a little higher resolution. So if we do like the 4 views, then I can get the cameras that are a little higher resolution. We'll get a little better, not a whole lot. But before we buy that next piece of equipment to see, do we want to stick with the 4, go with the 1, and see what everybody's opinion is.
Rachel, I know you're dying to say something.
Well, first, I apologize that I was late. And secondly, no, I'm trying to figure out if I want to lobby our chairman to move my seat, or if I'm going to have to really work on my hair every day. This is out of coordination. I mean, I'm just following Buzz Leach here and not saying anything stupid. So I think any type of transparency is positive, and I do think that most people, because they're familiar with the board meetings, will try to watch this on YouTube more than the committee meetings, because let's face it, the way this all works is confusing, not only to us at times, but to the general public. So I think we might see more hits for a board meeting. That being said, if TV8 continues to tape it, I don't think we will. I think most people like watching it on the local 8 channel. That's where I hear the most feedback. But I think, especially for having it on the computer and just being able, is there a way to, well, never mind, I'm going to complicate it. I take that thought back.
Okay.
It's on the bottom.
No, my thing is this technically more challenging than whatever?
I think this is the simplest way, because then our other alternatives is you put a single camera so you have a bigger screen, but you're gonna get the backs of heads, or you have an employee time sitting there panning and trying to keep up and always having somebody available. Because right now, it's just a push of a button, and then as time allows to download and put the video up.
I mean, with this way, you could actually, I mean, the next step would be to have somebody edit it, like, call this one, that one, or whatever, which I don't think we wanna do, but, you
Yeah,
know,
that would
this
give-
is, from a technical point of view, I think this is as good as anything.
A time issue on your end,
Yep.
too.
Mike, is there a way, I mean, we've talked a lot about working with our local college and, you know, we've been trying to streamline this internship process for credit. I mean, if we had an intern from their media department, you know, that would be willing to come over on the days of our board meetings and do like the
Mhm.
filming, it wouldn't be of any cost to the county, you know, is that something that maybe we could?
Yeah, I guess if someone's available to do that part of it, where we still have this, if something failed in that,
Right.
that we'd have a backup, then pick between the two videos which looks the best, yeah.
I mean, it gives them kind of an opportunity to get to know
Mhm.
government as well as media, but would that be okay if we looked into an option like that?
I think that should be something separate. I mean,
Right.
I'd say let's go ahead with this, and if you wanna look into that, it's fine.
Yeah, it gives you
Right.
the option.
Yeah, this
I mean,
is
in
fine.
addition to, not in replace of.
I don't know if you wanted to go into detail. I think the reason we were talking about the 4 views was the issue with the staff time in my office and with Dave in your office, and the option of doing 1 camera as opposed to the 4, and the quality of, it's kinda hard to follow the way it is here. And so I don't know, I think that was where we were going with, whether we were gonna go with this or the 1.
Yeah, I mean, because one issue was the staff time, because it's once a month, I mean, because IT staff can help, it wasn't a big thing for us. Like I said, the first one was the extreme one, it was a 3.5-hour meeting. And we could help with the download if it affects Joan's office very much. And as far as like the, you know, using the big screen, the image is gonna change a whole lot, because our big issue is we're shooting a long distance, and then it brings up the issue of the backs of the heads. You know, so whatever, you know, is the path we wanna go. Because no matter which way we go, each method has a drawback.
Mike, wasn't it the issue, though, 4 cameras, 4 times the work, essentially?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
1 camera, it'd be like what we have in the committee rooms, a lot simpler. And I guess the issue is do we get the same value out of 1 camera as we do out of 4, because the 4 are so small on people's computer screens, and I think that was the question for the committee, is whether or not there's enough to be gained from the extra work involved using the 4 as opposed to using just 1, really, at the end of the day, right?
Right, so that's the question is, you know, do we take 4 where you can see everything, but it's smaller, or 1 where you get half of the faces?
Well, like you
That-
said, this is a once a month, endeavor. I mean, you should just try it.
Yeah, and we're not locked into stone, you know, because, you know, Rick said we borrowed some cameras before spending the money on the extra ones to see how it plays out.
What if we had, did this, but then had a student edit it? 'Cause I mean, you could sit and staff and bring this one up and then,
Not really, because once the image is taken, it's taken, you can't really zoom in, it's not gonna get any clearer. If we had, you know, a student.
no, I don't mean, I mean to make it just so that, like, the
Oh,
right one
yeah.
is the full screen and the left one is, depending on who's talking,
Yep.
you could, I mean, you know, I'm talking like I know what I'm talking about. But just from a common sense point of view, if you had a student who could take this one and make it larger than both, you
Yeah,
know, and
somebody
just
goes
sit at
through.
a screen and edit it after the fact.
Yeah, because we could have the 4 streams where we're only showing one at a time and somebody picking which one to show.
Right.
That's a
Would
possibility.
that, Rachel, would that break? I mean, that
Yeah, I
would be
mean,
a student, you wouldn't need a student to,
I defer to whatever Mike thinks is the best, you know, and if we can add a student piece of it in addition to what you're suggesting without a lot of work, I think that's great, but, I mean, you're the expert, right?
Kevin?
I would hire a director so we could cut out some bad spots.
Well, we haven't got to the selling commercial time yet discussion either.
So I guess maybe the best thing is, you know, if we keep our 4 recording and just keep assessing how much time it's taking, 'cause like I said, we started with the most extreme meeting, and see how it plays out as we get used to it, and try to see how much that time that editing takes, and see if ACC does have a need for interns to come over and maybe take part of that and give us some options.
I have an or an email going to her today about some different internships, so
Okay.
we could include that if that's what the committee wants.
So is that the general consensus of the committee, that we'll stick with the 4 for now and see how it goes? Does that require a resolution, or is this just a consensus? You got anything else for us, Mike?
Then the handout was it's been asked a couple times about YouTube stats, so we printed out what it has been since we started, and one side, and the other side is the last few weeks, just to get an idea of what the views are. It kinda shows per day. And the numbers kinda show what you would kinda think based on the committee meetings, what would be the most popular ones.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I know we're not the most popular thing on the internet, but I think this is great. We're seeing more public involvement. We're probably seeing some supervisors watch the meetings as well. I know I've watched several over. To have over 10,000 minutes and over 1,500 views for the low cost and the transparency that we're providing, I think it's a win-win.
And once we get the puppies and kittens running loose in the boardroom, that'll really bring up the viewership. It is YouTube after all.
Oh, I'm filtering.
Puppies and kittens, huh?
Sure.
And then just the last thing I had was asked last month about looking into a document projector, and I did it for $125, and it's installed and working, so you can set paper up there and people can see it, and,
You got for 120.
yep.
I was wondering if you could move it from there over to there, so,
Yeah, next week you just put an extension cable on it, if we felt figure out where those places are. And,
well, I think like Jeff was, sitting over there, and he had pictures of things. I didn't have
Mhm.
more than enough things,
Yep.
if he could just,
That's the next step, is to have it could be, put there so the cord draw the way, then put it to wherever it might be needed, just as long as the extension cord is available ahead of time. So we'll work on putting that together. And that's it.
Mike, that's so impressive. So $125.
Mhm.
You obviously did some bidding on eBay.
Yep. Yeah, there was a seller with it says JB Queensberry.
Local nonetheless?
No.
Oh, never mind.
Never mind.
Is it April Fool's? It is, right?
Yeah, so we bought
Anyway, I was trying to say something.
a different projector, bought the adapter that works for our equipment, and 125 total, and it's all it's been running.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mike.
I always like crafts.
Oh,
It's all about you.
you're really excited over this document projector thing.
I am.
I didn't know you were the one selling it.
The first item that I have on the agenda
Let's follow, by
looks
the
like
way.
a lot, but actually it'll go pretty quickly. First item is, request, approval to appoint Amanda Allen, who's our current deputy clerk, to the position of clerk of the board effective May 1st, 2015, and that as a result of my retirement on April 30th.
Motion made by Evelyn, second by Edna. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carried.
The next item is to amend the table of organization and the salary schedule. We are restructuring the department. I was hoping Amanda planned to be here today to speak to you and to answer any questions, and as most of you know, her dad passed away very suddenly on Saturday. So I'm going to go through it, and hopefully I can answer any questions. But this is something that I've worked with her on, and with the county administrator, with the chairman, with the HR director. And what we're asking to do is to adjust salaries downward based on new people going into the positions. We had a legislative office specialist, which I was given permission to fill last month, and actually Jody Centerbar started with us on Monday. So she will be filling the lower position, and she will be taking committee meetings and some other assignments. We would ask to appoint, to fill the clerk of the board salary at $58,500, which is a decrease from $67,314. I don't know if you want to do these. We can probably do these all together. They'll all go down to personnel. And to set the salary for the deputy clerk at $44,500, from a decrease from $50,000. And to set the salary for the secretary to the clerk of the board at $37,000, a decrease from $38,700. Gretchen had done salary comparisons with other counties, which I have if anyone would like to review them. She also did, an analysis of other department heads in the county and their deputies. And we came to these salaries. I think they're very, much in line with the, other salaries of the counties and other department heads in the county. And the, last item is to decrease the salary of the assistant secretary to the clerk. We're promoting to the secretary, and we would like to keep this position unfunded. Going forward, we have been struggling, as most of you know, for months with our assignments. With the new, policies of the agendas coming to my department, we review them, we upload them, we send them out. We're having an issue keeping up, and I certainly don't want it to reflect that Amanda's not doing a good job if something happens after and they're not continuing to keep up. We're struggling. So we thought we would ask to keep this position unfunded, see how they do for the next 3 months with the workload, and possibly ask to fill it on a part-time basis, to have someone come in during meeting cycles and maybe help out with some assignments at the front desk. And so that's basically how we're asking to restructure the department. We would also ask to fill the clerk of the board and backfill any vacancies resulting from promotion. So they're all included in the resolution request in the package.
Bud?
I'd move B through D, you've done a great job, and you and Amanda in planning this. It's gonna make for an easier transition, I think. But, I think that they're all related.
Get a second?
I have a question.
Sure.
Why are we decreasing the salaries now so much?
They're all new people, they're coming into new positions, so these are the salaries, basically starting salaries. We did,
With the clerk of the board, it's almost a $9,000 decrease?
I've been in this position since 2006.
Right.
These are just basically, I mean, in my discussions with Paul and with Gretchen and with the comparisons, we felt that's where, we should start. They're all, when someone comes into a position, even though we're promoting from within,
It just seems a lot of money to me to decrease a clerk of the board that much. Somebody who's been the number 2 person, right? Is that what we're doing? Just so I'm following this?
Absolutely. She has been my deputy since 2012. She's been with the county since 2008. 2006, I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's been with the county a long time too, and she's seen the function. I take exception to cutting the clerk of the board salary down. That's just me.
Did, we record that Evelyn seconded the motion? Yes, Rachel?
I would have to agree with Chairman Garrity. I applaud you for decreasing the salaries. I think you're leading by example, and it's really important that we don't fill positions at the same salary as people vacate them. It's something I think we've all had a lot of discussions about. But I think given the importance of this position, is there a way to even, meet in the middle?
I would support that. I feel that the salary comparison is one piece of this, but you also have to look at each county, and I know from talking to some of my counterparts, there are certain obligations duties that are obligated by law. Most of our duties are set by the board, and I know my office, we have a lot of work, we have a lot of responsibility. Amanda is an outstanding employee. I feel very, very comfortable that I'm leaving you in very good hands. I would certainly support that, but as I said, I guess I'll defer to Paul for his thoughts, but I would certainly support that if that was possible.
Well, in terms of setting salaries, we do the same thing for every position, and that is we have Gretchen go through and do a salary study and an analysis, and every time that's what it is, and she comes up with a range, and these are the ranges that she came up with these positions. It's my understanding that she chose the 58,500 based on the fact that Amanda was just starting in the position, and she saw the 67 as the top of the range. So, you know, that, in a $10,000 range is not unusual in a higher paying position. And I can only tell you, that's just based on the studies, and that's what we bring to you. Certainly, it's up to the board and the committee to do whatever you would like.
Peter?
Yeah, I would disagree with, the comments that have been, brought forward. I like the recommendations as they are put forward. I think that as time goes by, whether it's 6 months, whether it's 9 months, whether it's a year, we can modify and change at that point after people have, proven themselves in the position. But I like the recommendations as presented right here.
And this has to go through personnel and finance?
Go to personnel and finance, and it'll go to the full board. The other thing, and I don't think I pointed that out, is that Amanda will be filling my term, my appointed term, which ends on December 31. So there certainly is an opportunity at that point to, when she's reappointed, to raise her salary.
But,
I kind of agree with Pete. I think one thing this does, it gives you an opportunity to award people, to have an incentive, it gives you an opportunity to be able to give them some increases, because they're there and they're doing a good job, but we're changing a lot of positions in that one department now. So, it makes sense to me to do this.
Yeah, usually a range is something that is for a person just starting out is, you know, when they're just learning the job, and then the top is after they've been there for a long time. But it's a judgment as to where they are in the thing. I think it should be left up to Paul and Joan as to where Amanda actually is, which is something we can't. I mean, the range, I think, is a good thing, but if we were starting with somebody you pulled off the street, then you would start them at the low end because they're learning the thing, but obviously the top is not what we're discussing. But where she is, I don't think it's fair to say, well, you're just like someone new, because she isn't. But I think it should be up to their judgment as to where she actually fits.
Gene?
Just got a question, I mean, were these discussed with your employees?
Yes.
Because I just didn't want to have it come in and then all of a sudden they say, oh my God, you know?
Amanda and I have, discussed the salaries.
I looked at this on the thing the other night, last night, I think, and I just felt we really, especially with Amanda, we really went too far low. I mean, I don't think they should start at the top, I agree 100% with that because of the time, but a $10,000 drop from moving into a position in, you know, in a private business section, that doesn't sit well with most. But I mean, I know we try to keep costs down and stuff like that, but I do agree with what was just said, that maybe get something in between and then see how the year goes. But that's just, but I'm glad at least you discussed it with them. I was just worried that this was just gonna come to the committee and then they were gonna be informed of it. Thank you.
Rachel?
I don't see the copy of the salary study here, and I know with other positions, we've seen a copy of the salary
I
study.
didn't distribute it.
I just wondered, you know, like Jim and Kevin have both pointed out, she's not a new employee off the street. She's been working as your second in charge for several years now. We like to reward employees not only for longevity, but for their good performance, which you've clearly attested to. And, you know, I think once in a while, it's worth looking at those salary studies, but like Jim said, adding in her performance. And if we had a performance work plan, and it's my understanding that in your department you do have some performance work plans, we could clearly look back, see exceptional performance, and recognize that we as a board are not a piece of cake to deal with either. You know, it would be great to be able to have someone with that experience be considered for a little bit higher of a salary.
Evelyn?
One observation is that Amanda, we know, can do the job, because anytime Joan isn't here, Amanda's doing it. She also did inter-county, traveled with us to inter-county, so we know that she knows the job and can do the job. And whenever Joan is out, it's quiet here and everything runs smoothly and she's on top of it. So I don't think it's as if it's a brand new person, because we've actually had 2 test runs with her, so to speak. And so I think we know that she can do the job. I guess my question is, we're reducing these salaries, it's obviously going to be a budgetary savings. What are we doing with that savings? Is that money we're setting aside so that if we have
That was
That
the,
there would be funding for that, is that the plan?
that was the thought, there's about a $17,000 savings.
That would
Um,
fund,
So if, you know, and as, we didn't feel at this time we wanted to come in and bring in another part-time position, but that's why we thought it would be best to just keep the title. It's an unclassified position, we don't like to give those up, so, we thought we would just give it a few, give it a few months, and if need be, she would ask to fill it part-time.
I just wanted to get that out so everybody was clear that there is technically funding then, so if we need to put something in for this position,
this, yeah.
there would be some savings just so we could afford to do that. Thank you.
Peter,
What is Amanda making currently?
50?
50.
Okay, so she's gonna receive an $8,500 increase, by assuming Joan's job. Joan has arrived at her salary based on many years of service to the county. That's the seniority system, and I assume these numbers as presented here today are, someone's put some thought into it and some evaluation. So, someone's getting an $8,000 or $9,000 increase in salary. I think that's pretty good.
That is one of the factors I know that Gretchen uses when she puts salary ranges together, is what the increase is for the move up in the position.
Are we ready to vote on this? The motion is to approve B, C, and D as written. All in favor? Motion carried.
Can I, sorry.
Well, you're the deputy chair of this committee, right? So,
Is there a way to just vote on Amanda's by herself? I mean, is there, I don't know the procedural process here, but, you know, can I just see that salary study for a moment? I'm really uncomfortable with this. I agree with the other two positions, but we're sitting here listening to Joan Sadie tell us she's very comfortable in meeting in the middle or giving her a little bit more of a salary increase because of the duties that she's assuming, not because she's brand new, but because she has this experience. And it sounds like there's support on the committee to at least increase it by a few thousand. So I don't know if I can amend.
well,
Could you help me out
this
here,
will
Lauren?
go to 2 more committees, and I'm sure our minutes of this committee will reflect the lively discussion that's taken place about this issue, and then it goes to the full board, and then she's up for reappointment. Yeah,
I
so,
mean, that's certainly a good time to say, wait a minute, she's really done a super job from May 1st. We should then look at, I guess I kind of have to agree with Peter on that. I certainly wouldn't be balking at an $8,500 increase. I would say, wow, that's pretty good. So then in the next 9 months, you prove yourself that you can handle the job, and you certainly would feel that you should then
Meet her in the
give her
And
more.
those are the discussions that she and I have had, is that she's, you know, this is fine. She knows how hard she's gonna be working.
Right.
She knows the responsibilities, and, you know, she's filling in on expired terms. So, at that point, you know, but
I feel the same way as Rachel. I think, I worry about being too strict on cost, because sometimes employees, it doesn't reflect, people's sense of what's right, and I think you have to sort of take that into account, what's right in their mind.
Yeah. I'll make one last comment, if I may. I think the average employee in the county or in private industry, if they were to receive an $8,500 increase in salary for a promotion, they would be thrilled, happy. So, let's wait till November and see how Amanda's done, and then we can consider it and then maybe give her a Christmas present.
Well, I don't know if it's a Christmas present when we start recognizing people's performance for a job well done, and also that this is not, this isn't a bump up in the duties she's already doing. This is an additional amount of duties, and again, one that I don't think is actually a very easy job. But I would just ask the committee to recognize the raises, and I'm sure our budget officer is here that can talk about the raises we have given in the last year to many employees, including at the start of this year in amending the budget. So, you know, obviously, if there's not enough support on the committee to change that resolution, that's fine, but I would just hope that we reflect back on this conversation when the time is appropriate to reappoint her position. and also when considering to fill an additional position in that department.
Okay, I'd like to,
We'd like to hear from Frank, though, briefly.
Yeah, there was many raises in the budget. I don't anticipate there will be very few raises in the next budget. I'm kind of comfortable with what Peter and, Edna think. I think, as we go, salary increase, you know, each year, it's at least 2% each year and plus, so.
okay, I'd like to move the agenda along.
Could I vote yes, though, please? I didn't vote.
You're qualified, yes.
Okay.
What? I didn't. You
No,
didn't
that-
say anyone abstained or any more comments, so.
Yeah, I didn't either, I was.
Well,
Yeah.
the motion had clearly passed, but, you know, if you wanna vote, go ahead.
Aye.
And Jim, do you
A
wanna?
qualified, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. The last item is a request, to have Amanda and the deputy attend a, seminar, how to manage people. We thought that would be very appropriate for two people going into management positions. And it's at the Queensbury Hotel, it's local, funds are in the budget.
Motion by Bud, second by Evelyn. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Doesn't wanna vote yet, wants to think about it for a while? Okay, motion carried.
However, now we're at the end of the meeting. Could I just bring up something briefly and
Can I
ask for
get
the
a motion
committee?
to adjourn?
Guys, seriously, it's about internships. I'd like to know if, I think this is the appropriate committee to talk to about it, and I was hoping that I could get the committee's support to perhaps meet with Paul to talk about an internship program with the college. I've been asked by, the college committee, when talking with President Duffy, about trying to work out a non-paid internship program for credit. We've identified some needs for interns already, and I just was hoping to have some discussion briefly. You know, if I know we've passed a resolution in the past for this, but to have a little bit more of a formal dialogue that I could convey to the college, Paul, if that would be okay?
Certainly.
I think it's a great idea. I would, you know, proceed. I think it's, to do that with the college, have these students, getting involved here, and great idea.
Great.
Yeah.
So then I'll send you an email and we can meet. Can I second Edna's motion to adjourn?
There were a lot of motions to adjourn and flurry there, I did see Edna though, so.
You're a tough taskmaster, Ron.
Enjoy your weekend.
Sorry, hey,
You know,
Ellen.
there's a busy schedule today, I'm not gonna be blamed.